well, basically we are responding to COVID-19, and the aim of the project is to support the Caribbean Canadian community during the time of this pandemic. So we are actively seeking for volunteers. So we are glad that you chose to come in and listen to us on this session. And we hope by the end of the session that you'll have enough information to make an informed decision about whether you want to continue participating with us. Okay, so we are Caribbean Canadian Parents United, and this organization is a virtual membership-based not-for-profit corporation. And the aim of the organization is to improve the quality of life for Caribbean Canadians. We know that most of us, if not all of us, have immigrated to Canada, or we came from descendants, persons who came to Canada and we were born here. But we understand that the system and the operation of things in Canada is slightly different, well, somewhat different, maybe vastly different from how we operate in the Caribbean. So the organization aims to bridge that the community between the parents and children and within the Caribbean community, so that we can give each other the type of support that we need. In Canada, we have it's a large landmass, and there are so many provinces, and it's so large that we spread over quite a number of acres, right, across Canada. So as Caribbean people coming in, we find ourselves in a position where we are not able to connect easily with each other. So the aim of this organization is to bring us closer together so we can continue to share our values and our heritage with each other, with our children, and pass on those values to them. So what is Caribbean Canadian? The term Caribbean Canadian is used to describe anyone's or territories or nations, and this includes various distinctions by race, ancestry, and ethnicity. So basically, if you are born in the Caribbean, or you descended from someone who was born in the Caribbean, maybe you were born in Canada, and you choose to identify as Caribbean Canadian, this is who we are reaching out to. Caribbean Canadian does not refer to one particular race. We actually include all different races. So whether you're Indian, you're Chinese, you're African, you're Caucasian, whatever nationality, either Spanish, French, Creole, whatever it is your nationality is, we are open to persons who can identify themselves as being Caribbean Canadian. We cater to countries that are actually in the Caribbean Sea. We also cater to countries that are locked in a landmass like South America. So we have countries like Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname. We have Belize and other countries within South America that would classify as being Caribbean Canadian, as well as some of the islands in the Caribbean that are not English speaking, such as Dominican Republic, Haiti, which Dominican Republic, and we have, well, Martinique, they speak French. They're also considered part of the Caribbean, and Cuba. Now, to be identified as Caribbean Canadian, you also have to reside in Canada, and you also have to voluntarily self-identify as Caribbean or Caribbean Canadian. So these are the three conditions that you must satisfy in order to identify as Caribbean Canadian, and we are not imposing this title on anybody. If you feel you want to identify as such, you are free to connect that way, and then you'll be part of this community. Our project is funded by the Canadian Red Cross Society, and again, it aims to improve the capacity of Caribbean Canadian Parents United to deliver new socially inclusive, vital services and programming to meet new needs, losses arising as a result of COVID. So all that means is that we are establishing a program to support the Caribbean Canadian community during this time of COVID. We know that there's a lot of fallout from COVID, and a lot of people have been affected by it in one form or another. So our aim is to provide some sort of support and relief to persons who are suffering and or feel isolated or disconnected because of the impact of COVID. The project is a 16-week-long project, and we are hoping to recruit, train, and mobilize 20 volunteers to design, set up, and deliver, firstly, a temporary crisis text line, as well as a temporary call-in mentor check-in program. The whole program is designated to have, it has a completion date of the end of November. So right now we are starting the second month. So we're into the second month. So we completed 1 week already and we're moving into the second month. So we don't have much time. So it's just 3 months remaining. So we hope to accomplish these two programs during the next 3 months. The temporary crisis text line, the aim is to calm down and de-escalate the text caller. So how this would work is that we would set up a crisis text line, which would be distributed to our community. So people would have that number that they can call on their fingertips. Now within Canada, I think it might be within the Ministry of Health or the government service would have crisis text lines that anyone in Canada can reach out to. But this is strictly for our community, our Caribbean Canadian community, where they would have access to us. And it makes a very big difference when somebody has a crisis and is able to call in or even text to an organization, or have someone who can understand the lingo or understand what they might be experiencing as coming from the same community. So for us, this is very important that we can actually identify or be able to connect with these persons who are calling because of some sort of crisis. And a crisis could be anything for anyone. It could range from depression. It could go to feeling suicidal. It could be, maybe I lost my dog, right? And I don't know where to find it. That's a crisis for someone. So they have this number at their fingertips that they can call. And if you're choosing to volunteer in this area, you would have to complete a required application form. You would have to take part in an interview and online training. The training is approximately 10 hours, not 20 hours. It's 8 hours. And this training is free of charge to you, and it will look good on your resume. So it's something that you'd probably want to consider doing. You will also be responding via script. So this is not something that you have to think of what you're going to tell them. We don't want to cause any further damage to our texters or callers. So we are providing scripts that you would be, through training, be able to give to them and respond to their crisis calls or crisis texts. There will also be live backup support and guidance, and we would also have follow-up evaluation and report during our weekly meetings. We have a meeting once a week where we get feedback from you as the volunteer, and you can tell us what challenges you have or what suggestions you have as we move forward. We would also be giving us a schedule based on your availability, so we can understand what we're working with. It's not a 24-hour shift. You would be only required to be available during the working hours per se. And if you're choosing to operate, to volunteer in the mentor check-in program, this program has basically been created to create a safe space to check in our Caribbean Canadian older adults. So basically all it is it's a call-in program where we have older adults as well as younger generation come together. And we would be hoping that these older adults will be able to share some wisdom, guidance, life experiences with younger callers. And we would hope that through this, we would get persons who are disconnected, feel disconnected or isolated during this time to open up and get connected with people like them, right? So we want to make it very interesting, very informative. We want them to feel like they're contributing as well. So we are hoping that volunteers would be able to guide them and guide the conversation so that we have some interesting discussions and sharing of information and wisdom and what have you. And we are hoping that, well, at the end of it, you'll be able to share feedback with the project team and gather offer solutions as we move forward. And as I mentioned before, every week we have a 30-minute team call, and the purpose of the call is for us to share what happened in the last week, bring updates, assign small tasks because we do need support in every area. We're looking at getting support to recruit participants for the program, also volunteers. We might ask you to do a small draft of an email or social media blast so that we can post to gain more participation in the program, because what good is what we're doing if we don't have participants, right? So we need to reach the wider community, and we just need your help in designing. No, it's not intense. It's just probably drafting an email or, just giving some suggestions and helping us as we do our recruiting activities. And we would also be collecting feedback from you. And during the meetings, we'll also be assigning new tasks and just, encouraging you as you move forward. We want to make sure that everybody is okay with what they're doing and not having any trouble. So this is the purpose of the weekly meeting, right? And finally, if you decide to move forward with us, we would like you to agree to our terms and conditions. A few of them are listed here. You must self-identify as Caribbean Canadian, be at least 18 years of age. You must complete the mandatory online training, which is for the crisis text line only. And we would like you to commit a minimum of 3 hours per week. It could be 3 hours, it could be more if you want, but a minimum of 3 hours per week until the end of November when the project is scheduled to come to an end. And we expect you to abide by the organization's policies and practices. And again, with respect to everyone, we advise that you not share any personal information with any volunteers without their explicit consent. So this basically wraps up what we're doing over the next 3 months. And we would be delighted if you would join us on our initiative and make an impact in our community and help bring individuals together and support each other as we move through this crisis period.